All right, y'all. Today we're gonna look at this boudoir photography business, see if they have BSS with their local or their city Google search here in Vacaville, California. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, home post somewhere on this profile. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps, Google searchers, social searchers, searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today, right now. Focus on talk about BSS here in all our videos. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, peeps that ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And actually, most of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. We reach them through interruption ads on Instagram and Facebook. And we talk about that over on our sister brand, profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. If we got 0 slots on page 1 on Google, man, we're basically already dead here. Because we now have the data, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even never even go to page 2. They're page 1 and done searches only. So approximately 80% of the marketplace. So that's the bulk of the marketplace. So we're invisible to 4/5 of people from page 2 or deeper. So we gotta get on page 1. But 1 slot on page 1, that ain't enough. Because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1, which means, if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. No one stands out. So guess what? A buyer is simply gonna click down through everyone. Open everyone's website, do price quotes, price shop, price compare, negotiate, and that kills our margins. And since we're not, we don't look any different, we do not want either of these scenarios. Now, 0 and 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It is the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation. So that's, more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace every single week, it seems like. Basically, anytime anyone gets a new new iPhone or new camera, new gear, they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. They're throwing a website saying they shoot boudoir, and they are throwing up they're posting the mom Facebook group saying they're now for boudoir photo shoots. So the same number of sellers, or large number of sellers to the same number of buyers, means it's harder for every single seller. Margins compress, people disappear. And so everyone really understands market saturation. It happened in a big way with COVID. People lost their jobs, so they still had to work. Everyone's got a phone with a great camera. Okay, easy to start a boudoir photography business. Market saturation. Now, the one most people don't know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So it seems like a lot of boudoir photographers simply kind of, passively accept that, as a boudoir photographer, you're going to get either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. But what actually happens is, let's say you got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, you're on like slot 8. A few new boudoir photographers into the market pushes our website back to slot, whatever, somewhere on page 2. And boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, that's how it is. You normally get either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. And this is 100% incorrect. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know it's false this is a false belief of page 1 equality, that a boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots and that's it, because I went and did the opposite. So what I discovered was that Google actually give as many slots on page 1 as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. So, okay, now we can build a solution around this, and we've done that. See that in 2 pictures. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer at DBP. And, if we got 0 slots on page 1, or on page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace, obviously we're disappearing. But if we're on page 1, we got 1 slot, we're still basically invisible. It's basically disappearing, being price shopped against everyone. Both cases are bad. And we care about disappearing boudoir photographer because if we are a disappearing boudoir photographer, that means our It's kind of like the warning light, the flashing check engine light, the warning signal, saying, hey, our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to actually disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered through testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And S cubed methodology, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there when they search them. And when we do this, when we saturate social search, that's kind of like all the snow on the backside of the Andes Mountains, the east side, down in South America. That snow melts, goes into small streams, flows into small streams, small rivers. That's social search saturation. And then that all flows into the Amazon River. That's page one search on Google is the Amazon River. So it all starts with saturating social search. And the interesting thing about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen that can allow the photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation and even massive market saturation. The only other second thing that could allow that is having a large, well-known brand. So brand would obviously solve that, but that takes 5 to 10 years to acquire. We don't have 5 to 10 years. AI is here taking people's jobs. We need to dominate fast and fight against market saturation as fast as possible. And something I see that kind of looking at estimates here, I believe SQ methodology can actually help people build a brand actually approximately 8x faster than normal methods because we're showing up so frequently on so many different surfaces. So it's kind of like the only turbo brand builder boost thing out there. So imagine if you've got a large well-known brand and you're using SQ methodology, you're basically untouchable by market saturation. So an example of still growing in the face of market saturation, let's say we're in a boudoir. Let's say we're in, I want to go to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's say we're in Virginia Beach, Virginia. There's 1 million boudoir photographers there. Each boudoir photographer has their own websites and they shoot boudoir. Everyone's fighting for those 10 organic page one slots on Google. Massive competition. And what actually happens is we're like, man, the only way we can compete, well, if we had brand, but we ain't got that large, well-known brand. So the only other second option is we got to utilize SQ methodology. So we take it, we crank it up to the max. And when we crank it up to the max, let's say we're ranking for the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across all of social search. And when we do that, let's say that flows out onto Google, and we saturate the first 300 slots, page one of first 300 slots of Google for those highest intent boudoir buyer searches. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that means we're taking up literally the first 30 pages. And so for any boudoir buyers out there, anywhere they search, social search, Google search, we're basically the only boudoir photographer that pops up. We've literally taken all the slots from everyone else. This would be SQ methodology to the ultra super max. But if we're essentially the only one being found, whose business is growing? Ours. In the face of massive market saturation, whose business is disappearing, slowing down, vanishing? Well, it's the 999,999 other boudoir photographers that can basically only be found Google page 31 or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page 2. So dude, who's actually going to page 31? Ain't nobody going to page 31. Now, once true with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. So initial benefit, more slots, page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is actually, we take those more slots on Google, actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 and putting them on page 2 or deeper, effectively making them invisible. And when we do that, we actually turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers, and eventually they'll most likely exit the market. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually get this benefit better than the first one we talked about. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So the GBC universe recommends, as a recommended minimum, of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google page 1. And that's because if everyone else has got 1 slot, our 3 slots, we're going to dominate them, look way better. People wonder why Google's recommending us so much and be clicking through ours. And in the super rare case, someone else has 2 links. Well, guess what? We are R3 still looks better than there too. So we're basically dominating all scenarios here. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, which now we know is false. And we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cube methodology to solve all this. Achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results, utilizing S-cube, purely utilizing S-cube methodology for myself. So I want to, frank for the term here, BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one of Google, BLCS boudoir. So I utilize S-cube methodology. Started with 0 out of 10 links on page one of Google. Let's see what I was able to get to. So we got organic, slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days. And these are my results I got purely using S-cubed methodology. So now main event here, we're going to look at this boudoir photographer, Vacaville, California. Might have to copy this, bring it over if I don't have the tab up. So we're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local and city search. Actually, their local and city search is actually the same in this case. All right. There's a Vacaville. All right, so going at the organic. Nope. 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 There we go. We got one. And let's see. Nope. 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 All right, so we got 1 out of 10. So, in Vacaville, where is this place? Stockton. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's between San Fran and Sacramento. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 slots for Vacaville, California. So yes, we do have BSS, or this boudoir photography business does have BSS, boudoir search sameness, and we have not met the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google, and that's recommended because, dude, if we're 3 out of 10 local and 3 out of 10 local search, 3 out of 10 city search, page one, we can basically guarantee we're not disappearing. We're either treading water or we're growing, most likely growing. That's why we want to hit 3 out of 10. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you did your local search for yourself and your city search for yourself, and you're saying you have BSS, boudoir search sameness, and or you have not reached the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page one, and you now understand and you've accepted that page one equality is a false belief, that boudoir photographers is not given 0-1 slots on page one. They can actually take, and Google will give them as many page one slots as they want to put in the effort for. And you see the S-cubed methodology is the only way to get you there. And you understand the market saturation? Yeah, people get phones. Yeah, more boudoir photographers over time. People get cameras. Yep, more boudoir photographers over time. And you're actually thinking ahead. You're seeing AI taking people's jobs, which is actually going to force more people into the marketplace as boudoir photographers. So it's going to saturate the market more and more because why? Everyone's got an amazing camera on their smartphone. So that'll be the easiest thing for people to become, or to throw up their Google business profile or offer in the marketplace on the mom groups in a boudoir photographer. And as a result, we actually, so you've actually decided you decided you want to fortify your positions, kind of like levees in New Orleans, kind of keeping the ocean water out because New Orleans is below sea level. So you decided you want to fortify your position in preparation of all the increasing new boudoir photographers going to be coming into the market because of AI taking people's jobs. And you also want to kick out current competitors from page one, which you can see S-Cube methodology can help with both, and kind of establish your current position more and fortify your position more against the future boudoir photographers that are inevitably going to be entering the market. And you're seeing S-Cube methodology is the only path to get you there. You want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer. You want to have boudoir search visibility because you know you need it on your path to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want the extra back-end benefits of doing all this, S-Cube methodology every single day. What it actually does is it creates thematic keyword columns around your name, around your brand, around your business's name. And what building these invisible thematic keyword columns do attached to your brand, your business, they actually increase the probability you get recommended here AI overview, the most premium slot on the page, where many times it'll only be recommend one boudoir photographer in the AI overview. And so you've actually decided, you see kind of these back-end benefits of S-Cube methodology as well, which is increase in probability AI overview recommends us every time, every day S-Cube methodology is executed. It increases that probability. And on also the second back-end benefit is all the AI search apps, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, all those searches when someone's searching, boudoir photographer in my city, as we utilize S-Cube methodology to build up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, higher probability we get recommended by the AI search. And this just increases over time the more we execute S-Cube methodology. And right now, Google's still approximately 90% of global search, but AI search increases every single day. I mean, I don't think I've used Google search to actually click on links and read stuff in like a year. But I use, Google AI mode, click the tab all the time. I don't want to click through things to read it. Simply give me the summary. And last time I used AI search, I used ChatGPT search to find some boudoir photographers in the city, or recommend some, and it gave me 3. But dude, the city had like 60. Like when I owned to manually look. So a higher chance we get recommended in those. And also you understand kind of more you build up these invisible thematic keywords associated to your brand, your profiles, and all that, which only S-Cube methodology can deliver, that the more momentum you're building and the larger space you're building between you and your competitors that are behind you, or competitors in the city. Because right now my plan is to only operate with one boudoir photographer in the city, which means, dude, we'll be getting massive progress, or kind of massive distance between us and your competitors. And you realize if your competitor instead went with me, you would have to rederive S-Cube methodology all on your own, and go out and execute it. You probably wouldn't be confident executing it because you wouldn't know if you derived and are even using the methodology correctly. But then you'd have to go out execute me and your competitor. But actually, you'd have to equal our execution to simply maintain our gap, the gap that we got ahead of you with. And you'd actually have to actually double or triple our output to, catch up and overtake our gap and overtake the progress we've already made, steal back the momentum, the invisible thematic keyword columns that we had been working to attach to their brand. You have to overcome that all on your own and kind of rederive the whole system from the jump. So you decide, screw that. It's better to simply be the first mover here, seal off anyone else, any other competitor in your city from using this strategy. And you decide S-Cube methodology is the path that you want to go down. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is not currently taking new patients. But as when I do open up for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for using S-Cubed methodology.